Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Inspire View series. I'm so excited you're here. And today I have a super special guest, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But a little bit about the series in case you're new to it. I felt inspired to put it together because I feel it's so important that everybody lives their life with passion, even if they incorporate what they're passionate about in some tiny little way. It just affects your life immensely, and your soul really thanks you for listening when you do. And in this series, I'm introducing you to women from, well, it's been all over the world now, who are very real people who've gone through all the trials and tribulations of life and everything, but follow their passions. And I thought it would be a great idea to share what they do with you to inspire and motivate you to do the same. So today I'm going to introduce you to Kate Chadbourne, who is a singer, musician, storyteller, and poet. She holds a Ph.D. in Celtic Languages and Literatures from Harvard, where she teaches courses in Irish language and folklore. But the heart of her understanding of Irish folk tradition comes from encounters with singers, storytellers, and great talkers in Ireland. She performs her signature blend of stories, songs, poems, and festivity all over New England. And she has been a featured tradition bearer in the Revels Salon series and in the Gaelic Roots Concert Series at Boston College. And her music has been featured on NPR's programs Cartalk and All Songs Considered. She has published 2 collections of poetry, the Harp-Boat, about her father, a Maine lobsterman, winner of the, am I saying this correctly, Kulupi Press Sense of Place Chapbook contest, and Brigit's Woven World and other poems of Ireland. She also teaches in the Bardic Academy, her school for great-hearted people who want to create more freedom, joy, and enchantment through a combination of arts instruction and natural magic. More than anything, Kate yearns to live in a warm, imaginative, enchanting world, and she thinks the best way to do this is to sing, laugh, and revel with you. And we'll talk about her academy and all kinds of fun stuff. We've been chatting before this. So I would love to introduce you to Kate Chadbourne, who actually I've known since I was about 4 years old. So we grew up in a small southern little town in Maine, southern Maine. I'm saying this all wrong. But anyway, so hi, Kate.
Hi, hello everybody. Hi, Cherrise. What a pleasure to be with you today. I'm just thrilled to reconnect.
Oh, me too. It's only 40-something years, really. Time flies, you know.
Time does fly, indeed. Yeah, it's wonderful to be here. Hello, everyone.
Oh, Kate. So, I mean, I wish I had recorded our whole pre-talk actually, because there were so many awesome tidbits of inspiration in there. But I would love for you to share with us a little bit about a few topics, I suppose, and we'll just go with the flow with this. But you've got quite a background, and it's really inspiring. And now you've kind of taken a leap of faith into doing something that you felt passionate about. So if you could share a little bit of that with us, that would be fantastic.
Well, I would love to. And I wanted to say, I loved what you said in your introduction about the importance of passion and how your soul thanks you. And that is your soul speaking, isn't it? When we feel that passion, that sense of joy leading us on, that is our soul speaking to us. And when we listen to that, we do feel more alive. We feel frisky. We feel excited, right? We feel in touch with the pulse of life, and why we ever trade that away and for what is a great mystery to me. And I'm with you. I'm for all of us coming back into that pulse and saying yes to that. That is the truest thing we are. So for me, I am a voracious lover of many things, I guess is the truth. And so for a long time, I was working in academia as a scholar, and love that and the things that I've learned that way. And at the same time, this kind of parallel track always has been creativity and artistry as a singer, storyteller, and poet and composer. And for a long time, I didn't really know how to bring those things together. They felt like two different tracks. But I think for me, one of the greatest passions and joys of my life has been realizing that they're not separate, that they belong together, actually. And so I would say that to anybody listening, if you're wondering like how all of your puzzle pieces fit together, just know that they do. They do. You wouldn't love them if they weren't part of your particular puzzle, part of your special recipe. So for me, that's been such a joy. And that's happened now, like at this point of my life in my 40s, is realizing, no, it all does fit together. All of so the scholarship feeds the artistry, and the artistry feeds the scholarship. And so there's wholeness, I guess. I'm seeing a picture of wholeness. Mm-hmm. And I love to see that in other people too. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's because I think so many of us are probably raised with these certain expectations. You have to do X, Y, Z to be successful, you know, fall into one of these categories of jobs and things. And I've been experiencing in these interviews that people who do that are finding that's not really what they wanted to do, but it still ends up blending into what their passion is, like what you're talking about. And they do find a way. Eventually, at some point in time, it all fits in together and blends into something that brings them much more joy.
I love that. And I love that you say, too, that there really is no possibility of mistakes. You know, even if we've spent years doing something that later we say, that isn't me. It's still part of your particular sort of secret sauce, as it were.
Right.
Fits. You know, one of the mottos that I live by, that I don't know why, but when I was a little girl, I sort of heard this, and that was, nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. No experience is wasted. No little scrap of time. In my life as a musician, especially, I realized that early, that even if I went to the piano for 3 minutes, it was worth doing. You know, even if I just almost brushed the keys, it contributed. And so now I extrapolate from that, and I see it in my life, and I see it in the lives of my friends and students and everybody around me, that all of it fits. It's just a question of waiting until you see it, and expecting, I think, that you will see it fit together.
Yeah, I think that's important. The expectation, setting the intention to know that this will fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's beautiful. It's kind of like your mandala behind you, you know, and on your signature, all those colors, all those little pieces, you know, of that beautiful mandala, they fit. There's a reason they're there, and they create wholeness. And I think that's actually a lovely kind of image for us too.
It is. And this mandala, actually, this I'm pointing in both places, is a geometric and numerology of me, actually.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Coolest.
Yeah. So this woman in South Africa makes them personal mandalas. That's where you can find her on Facebook. And you send her your birth date and your full name and all that, and she does the numerology part, and she intuitively puts together the colors and the geometric patterns in a mandala for you. So this is like my little blueprint of me.
That is amazing. Wow. And here I was saying we could use it as a sort of symbol for our human
and it is
your human wholeness. I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, she's great. Rosalind Pope, I think. I'm not sure if I've got her last name right, but amazing. She's amazing. She posts new paintings on Facebook all the time, and she's actually got a set. Now I'm like promoting somebody else, but she's got a set of cards too, based on numerology. And I think astrology and like everything. She's got it all blended into one, and they're beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah. So anyway, back to what we were
You
talking
know what? So
about.
many doors in, Cherrise. That's another door in, right? It's another way for us to access that wholeness, right?
Mhm.
It's a graphic representation of wholeness. And it's one door, right? Another door, obviously, is our intuition, is our just our sensing. And another door, to come back to what you said, is our sense of passion and joy. That's, I think, whatever, like that's one that you have wherever you are. If you don't have your mandala with you, you've got your passion and joy to let you know of your own wholeness.
Right.
It's
And
exciting.
it really, I've found that when you really let it out and really explore your authentic self and quit hiding little bits and e- express everything, it really does open the door to so many more opportunities and connections and things you didn't even know would happen, like this video series. So
Yes. Yeah, it really does feel like life itself wants us to express and claim and enjoy our whole being. Because when we do, as you say, so many doors open, so many rich experiences are presented to us that amplify that wholeness, that amplify that sense of holiness, of being intact.
yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So you took a little leap of faith fairly recently in leaving the traditional scope of teaching to start your own academy to encourage people to be more creative and express themselves, exactly like what we're talking about. So how do you, obviously, I mean, it gives you sort of this little gut feeling like, oh my God, that's how I think of it, the leap of faith. And I think I've mentioned this before, and somebody talked about taking the steps instead, or the stairs instead of the leap, which felt more comfortable to me because you get this little bit of anxiety and you're like, holy crap, what am I doing? But I love what you shared with me about your experience in leaping. So would you share and then talk a little bit about how you work with people in the academy? Because I think it's a beautiful, it sounds like a beautiful experience. I wish I lived closer so that I could share your space
Thank
with you
you.
and do that.
Oh, I'd love to have you over here for tea, Cherrise. It would be such a pleasure. We'll hope one of these days.
Yes.
So my leap just was leaving academe and leaving a job after a few years. I've been working in academe in some capacity or another. I'm a very, I'd like to say, a very low totem pole person in the academy, meaning like adjunct faculty or a lecturer or assistant professor, whatever, low totem pole. And just knowing in my heart that if I didn't make a go at living completely in my art, that I would sort of feel like I hadn't done what I came here to do.
Mm.
And that might sound kind of grandiose, and I don't mean it that way. There's just like a niggling worry that actually got more. I will say, over the last 2 years that I was teaching in that program, my health went into the hole. I'll just say my digestive health in particular was not good, and my back ached. There were just so many. Now I see very clear signs that my body was saying, this is not it for you, Kate. The workload, all this kind of stuff. And so I started to kind of get the rebel part of me started to get uppity and antsy and things. I corresponded with the president of that university a couple of times demanding rights and all this. And now I think it's sort of lucky that they didn't give them to me, because then they would have called my bluff, and I would have still been there. But after a while of this agitation, and I said to my boss, I'm thinking about coming back. And she said, well, are you or aren't you? And without any conscious choice, I heard my own voice say, I'm not. And that was it. And then it was so that was sort of, in the tarot, where the Fool card is sometimes pictured as the fool is like walking literally off a cliff. And in some depictions, there's a rainbow bridge that appears, but sometimes there's no bridge. And so I was one of those people who just said, I'll figure it out. And you know what happened? So I want to say this. I don't think everybody has to make such a dramatic leap as that. And I don't think one way is better than another. You know, I think it's important to say that. I think steps are good. I think leaps are good, whatever. In my case, though, I just do want to say that I took that leap, and it's been a couple of years now. And the work I've needed to, like, you know, continue to pay for my dwelling and my food and my cat food has appeared. And often right when I most need it. Like, I guess what I mean is I do feel very looked after and cared for. And I feel more and more the conviction that my job is to show up and do what I say I do and love the dickens out of it and enjoy it and love the people I work with and perform for and love what I'm creating. And that I know sounds like the most idealistic schlock you ever heard, but it's actually been true for me. So there's lots of ways to leap forward into a life that feels like it fits you better. I think the first most important thing is to know that that exists and to know that you can have it. You're entitled to that. Even if it's everything can be made more wonderful, everything.
Right.
Even if it's already really good, you could say, well, it could be better in these ways. Let's make it my two ways, fun and delicious. That's what I like. I want it to be fun and delicious. Everything can be made more fun and more delicious. So that's not to say everybody should leap off of, you know, like leave their jobs without a plan. If I had actually thought more rationally, I might not have done that. But even so, like you and I were speaking before this call about that mistakes are, it's not really possible. As long as you have the attitude that it's a big experiment and
That's right.
You'll figure it out. That's been my motto. I'll figure it out one way or another.
That's right.
So anyway, where all that has brought me now is that my life is all about music and poetry and stories and fairy lore, believe it or not, fairies of Donegal and Irish language and folklore and like all my favorite things. And so I'm running this school called the Bardic Academy, and people come to me for all kinds of things. I suppose on the outside level, they'll come because they want to maybe write poetry again after a long time, or they have a painting practice that has lapsed, or I have a lady right now who is getting on in years and wanted to write a book, and she's written a book, actually. You know,
that's awesome.
It's amazing. And all kinds of things. So people do harping, or they do singing, or they do poetry, or we do drawing, and we do crafts, and we do bookmaking. And so there's all kinds of skills, I suppose. But really, what I've realized is why we're doing what we do is for freedom and joy. That is, in a nutshell, what we're doing. And so we use all of these different skills as well as natural magic to create that, to up the ante for people. And it's totally delicious. I love it.
I love that. I love the natural magic part of it. Yeah, because that's powerful. Sometimes little rituals make all the difference, you know, because intentions are set and you're doing an action to set an intention. And I think that those things are important in helping to create the life that you're seeking.
Yes, and I actually believe that they're effective in the world, that they actually take effect. So recently, one of my Bardic Academy students talked to me about her frustration with Match.com or one of those things. And we actually talked about the idea, because she was saying, oh, you know, like, I just know you just got to put your time in and do this. And I said, well, do you actually have to? No, it could be optional, right? Let's question that assumption that it has to be hard. How would you like it to be? And we went through this, and she said, I'd like it to be simple. I'd like it to be fun. I would like it to feel right. And I'd like it to be easy. And I said, well, let's brew up a potion. So we did.
Perfect.
And we created a potion for her, and she drank it in a ritual way. And she said she feels it bubbling away. It's changing, right? So, it's effective, I guess, is all I want to say. There's ways, and this natural magic and playfulness are like sisters, for sure. Imagination and intuition are sisters. All of these things, some of the things that we did as kids to pretend and play, they turn out to be incredibly powerful and magical.
Yes.
Effective. So I'm so excited about that aspect of my work and bringing it in to my work and claiming it, getting in tune with the seasons, using, have allies as our elemental allies or animal allies, really just being in touch with the soul of the world in a different way, that is a magical way that can make a difference.
I love that. Yeah, I have a story, my own personal story that I won't get into right now. Maybe I'll do a follow-up to this, but about the same thing with online dating. And I actually kind of wrote out the person I was looking for, and I set intentions for what I was looking for, even like how he looked. And I have to tell you, it pretty much worked. So, but I also have to tell you that you have to be very clear your intentions, but I'll share that story another time so that we don't take up all our space there. But I was really amazed, to tell you the truth, and I've shared it with him before too. And I was about ready to get off the whole online thing, and then I saw his little picture there, and I was like, "Oh, who's that? That looks like,
kind of lit up around him."
Yeah, so it's been over 2 years. We've been together over 2 years now. So it happens. You have to set clear intentions and expectations of the universe that, this is what I expect to happen, kind of say. And I think it does. It works. I tell people that all the time. It works.
I think the expectation is so powerful in all of this. With young artists, I'm always saying, claim the title sooner. I took, even though I wrote poetry since I was like out of the egg, I was so kind of worshipful about poets and poetry. I mean, who was I? I don't know if you can see her here. This is Emily Dickinson.
Mm-hmm.
Who was I to say that I was in the same category with Emily Dickinson? But now I say, absolutely, claim that. Expect that is your life. Expect those things, and they become your things. And do it sooner. Like everybody listening, if you're hesitating to call yourself a writer or a painter or a dancer or a poet, start doing it now. And you know what? You will actually be doing a lot more painting and writing and dancing and writing of poetry than before. And in some ways, I got hung up when I was younger on the humility piece about not stepping forward and claiming that place. But now I think, well, I want your poetry. So please, I want your dance. I want all of you. I want that you create. That's the kind of world I want to live in. So please don't let this kind of humility, this crazy notion of humility, I don't believe that's real humility at all, actually. I believe real humility is saying, there's lots I don't know, but I'm so excited to find out.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I'm going to have to watch this again and write it down, since I don't take notes during these. Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, beautiful.
So I think probably, because I used to not know what a bard was either. So there's probably people out there who do not know. So they're like, what the heck is the Bardic Academy if I don't even know what a bard is? So maybe you can share that.
I love that question, and I'm glad you asked. So when I decided to call my school the Bardic Academy, it was really because I was thinking of the bards of early Ireland. I was thinking of the poets, I should say. A bard is another word for a poet. And the poets of early Ireland had a lot of different functions. They were storytellers, they were poets, they were wise people, they did a kind of magic. They had all these different functions. They weren't just one thing. And I wanted my bards, or the idea of the Bardic Academy, to encompass all of that multiplicity of life, of art forms, of anything. So being a bard to me is a way of being connected with the world, with each other, with history, with magic, with the soul of say your instrument or your art, with the lineage. So it's, you know, a lot of people, I suppose one way I would differentiate what I do in the Bardic Academy between, say, what a regular piano teacher would do. A regular piano teacher brings you in and says, okay, here's the scale in the key of C, play it, and half an hour later you've had your lesson and off you go. And it's wonderful. And I was really lucky to grow up and I had a piano teacher like that, who taught me. But the way that I like to teach is to make sure that what's happening inside is equally important as what's happening outside. Mm-hmm. And so we use intuition to play music. When we're singing, I always think that how you feel is more important than how you sound, much more important. And so while we're singing, we're practicing sending love, for instance. We're practicing magic through singing, sending love or connecting with ancestors. We're, you know, bringing in the seasons. So we're sort of timing our things according to the seasons so that we can be in tune with them. So I don't know, does that give you a better idea of what's Bardic about the Bardic Academy?
Yes. Creative expression. I think you cultivate and encourage people to live their most creative expression of themselves.
I would say that's exactly right. And what I've really found, especially over this last year, is that when you are expressing yourself creatively, and again, for some of my students, creative expression is the main purpose, right? They want to become a better harper. But for some of them, they want to live their life in a more creative way. They want to feel free. They want to feel joyful. So the arts are just a part of a whole spectrum of tools that they have in their toolbox that make them feel more alive. That really is the point. When people aren't, I have a person who's going to start with me next week, and she's had like a 10-year dry spell, and she's ready to feel more alive. And she knows, because the most alive parts of her life were parts where she was really creating and expressing and exploring. She's ready for that again. I really think you get the juices flowing in here, and all the juices are flowing.
Yeah, you know? I agree. And that's so awesome, because I think with coaching, you know, a lot of people probably are still kind of new to that. I know that I didn't really know what it was even just a few years ago. And the point of it is that if we could do this on our own, we would have by now, you know. So sometimes when you're in that stuckness, or you're feeling a yearning, kind of a tugging to do something else, like a part of you that maybe, there was a squirrel that maybe
squirrel.
That's why I felt like that little dog. It's a good thing this just flows. But to feel that, you know, and if you're so, there comes a point sometimes where you don't know how to get beyond that. And I think it's so important that there are people like you out there who help to like chip away at the crustiness that we've kind of gotten over our creativity sometimes, and to get that shining again so that we can express it.
Oh, thank you. I love my students so much, and it is so exciting. I just had a student who completed her program with me, and to feel her energy, which is when she began was kind of contracted, and she's just radiant now. She's she's mighty, you know, she's so powerful. And that's her. I mean, I'm a support and a help, but she has just flowed into this new power in her life. And she's, even when you look at her face, her face is more expressive, is more alive. So it's exciting what can happen. And to me, it's a great honor to be permitted to be part of people's evolution in that way. I love it so much. It really feels thrilling to me.
Mm-hmm. It's very fulfilling. It's, you know, that's the whole part of, I think, what we do in guiding others, is that's fulfilling for us. Like this series and helping other people see that they can do it too. You know, it's a little piece that I can do to just put it out there to share other people's stories, so that other people who might feel stuck can say, hey, you know what, I really am feeling stuck and I want to get over this. And I know I was joyful and I know it makes me joyful. I don't know how to get there, but we're going to figure it out and do it because it's so important.
Yep. Even just a small hint, it really, just a little inkling, like I don't know why, but I just want to go in that shop, or I don't know why, but I just want to buy those markers. I don't know why, but I just want to try that thing. Those little nudges are they really show us a path to more fun, more deliciousness, more enjoyment, you know, more connection, even with other people, more life. So yeah, again, nobody has to like throw aside their 401k and
Right.
health insurance. But I think it's a wonderful practice every day to say, where is joy pointing me? What feels joyful? Even I'll just say like a small thing. Like sometimes, I don't know about you, but I'll be online and I realize that I've kind of gone into like a zombie state. I'm not really I'm just kind of scrolling or whatever. And just to have to build the consciousness to say, oh, wait a minute, I've just become a zombie. What would I rather do? What would be joyful right now? And often it's, well, let's go play some music, or let's go for a walk, or just remembering that I could feel better. Just that small thing, I could feel better. I would like to feel better right now. I don't have to sort of digest all this stuff, like the problems of the world, you know, the causes or whatever. I don't have to take that all in and metabolize it. Sometimes I do. Sometimes it's the right thing for me, but a lot of times it isn't. And a lot of times just to be able to turn away and say, okay, I'm going to go, you know, like I like to do, like a one-song dance party in the kitchen. I'm going to go shake it up, baby. Yeah. That'll feel better than this. I'll feel more like myself, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, it is important because even small things, you may start with something small, and it can expand.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Definitely. You never know where joy will take you.
That's right. And that's so important to realize that sometimes you just need to take that step.
You do. Yeah.
And so, and besides, we'll touch on briefly before we close, because I really suck at keeping these things to the 30 minutes. I say I'm going to because I love to talk to everybody.
I could talk to you all day, Cherrise.
But besides helping others to become creative, you yourself are creative and you express yourself by being a performer, libraries, schools, and things like that. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to share a little bit about how not only do you teach others how to do this, but you live what you're teaching.
Well, thank you so much. And I really see, for me, the flow between these two parts of my life, that everything I learn as a creator, as a performer, flows back into my teaching and vice versa. It's such a beautiful system. So yes, I love to perform. So my shows are kind of a combination of a lot of Irish material, Irish folk material, stories and songs. And to me, I think the cornerstone of all of them is welcome. That's one of the deepest values of my life. In Irish, the word is fáilte. Can you say that? Fáilte.
Fáilte.
Well done. So that welcome and inclusiveness. And what I most hope from from my performances, my live shows, is that we together, the audience and me, create a sense of folcha, of welcome. Everybody is needed. Everybody in this room, wanted, treasured, belongs. And a lot of times we get excited, all of us together, like we build. The shows are really an opportunity to practice energy alchemy, to go somewhere together, so that where we start together, we don't know each other, but we end somewhere new, and we end feeling more hopeful. We end feeling more vital and excited, and that to me is thrilling. So I'm a harper. I play the harp and play the piano and the whistle and the flute and sing. But all of those things, I'm sort of weaving them, so that they can create that sense of folcha. And I love especially to sing together with people. That's one of the most beautiful things, to feel us all come together like that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You wouldn't want to hear me sing, but that's beautiful. I'm sure it's beautiful.
I do want to hear you sing.
Maybe after a cocktail or something. I don't know.
No, it's so. And then at home, I'm actively writing poems and actively composing. And I have a new CD coming down the line. It's called Songs of the Poets. And I've put to music, maybe it's about a dozen poems, some of them classic poems. And I love sharing those with audiences, because just so many people have what I call the poetry hang-up, that it was clobbered into them,
I do.
Yeah, well, I get it, because all the high school teachers said, "What does this mean?" And we thought,
"Oh, I know that."
Or the favorite saying, Billy Collins, who was our poet laureate, he has a poem where he says, the teacher said, "What is the poet trying to say?" As though he were this inarticulate, like,
I love that.
The poet trying to say, it's terrible. Say it, it's so much easier. So I love sharing these poem songs with people, because often they say, "Wow, poetry, there's something there for me." And that's my view of poetry and all the arts. It's for you, my friends. It's for me. It's for everybody. It's not just for some kind of special class of people. If you don't like it or don't understand it, keep looking and find the stuff that thrills you and that speaks to your soul and that does something for you. And there will be. And even if other people say, "Well, that's not worthwhile," who cares, right? We don't care what they have to say.
No, we don't. We don't care about them.
No, we don't. We don't. That's their thing, right? So we'll
drag them over to some place where we can all sing and play music together. And then they'll be happier, Yeah.
Yes, and share maybe some scones and tea, that kind of
There we go.
Life I like. So they're fun.
That's so awesome. I love these little things. And I assume that since you've been doing this, you had mentioned some digestive issues before you came into doing what you were passionate about full force, that those have dissipated.
Long since, yeah.
Isn't that beautiful how that happens?
Right away, all kinds of things. I feel so much more myself, and certainly my health has improved radically. And a lot of people say, "Wow, like you look so alive, so healthy." And again, you don't have to jump off any cliffs to get that benefit. But listening, as you said at the beginning, to your passion, you'll just feel more yourself. So it's so worth doing. However you can do that today, all of us, this is my sacred homework for myself and for everybody, is think today, where is my passion? Where is my soul leading me? I want to go there in some way. If your passion is to travel to Italy, get the book out of the library and drink up the photographs and, maybe cook pasta tonight, whatever.
Yeah, there we go.
There's ways to connect with that.
That's right. There are. That's awesome.
And sing a song, at least.
Yeah. Sing in Italian, even if you don't know it.
Exactly. Yeah,
Do
like
your own version of Italian. It's okay.
you don't even have to know, that's amore, that's enough.
There we go.
Or just put ioni on the end of everything, right? Sure, ioni.
That's awesome.
That'll do.
That's right. So you have a gift for everybody. That sounds really awesome. And I just saw it last night, so I haven't had a chance to experience this myself. But it's fun and delicious ways to leap free of creative blockades. And if you want to tell a little bit about that, and then the link, and also I will be putting all of this on my website. So the link will be there, an easy to click little gift button, and along with the video and the MP3 version of this interview, so that everybody has that in one spot. But go ahead and share a little bit about that, and we'll wrap it up.
Well, thank you so much for all of that. My gift is a very short but action-packed ebook. It begins with a quiz, so you can see where you are in terms of creative blockades, blocks to your creativity and vitality. And then it goes through a series of really fun kind of exercises. I call them games, really, that you can play to leap over your creative blockades. And so there's a song, there's an oracle, there's quite a nice star ritual that you can play with, and there's a kind of philosophy that says, play and leap and enjoy and claim it now. This is your life. You get to have it. You get to be full wattage. You get to be thrilled to get up in the morning. You get to shine your light and share it with us because we want it. I think that's really at the heart of it. And also, it should be fun. Let's have some fun.
Yes. And I encourage people to share it too, share your experiences with that, and tag Kate and I on Facebook if you want to, and how you've experienced her gift and what you have to say about these interviews too. And that's at, that link is at Kate Chadbourne. It's KateChadbourne. Stuck on that. And it's her email list sign up form, and I'm going to go do that myself too. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much for this time, Cherrise. I have
loved my gosh, it was so awesome to connect with you after so many years, and to yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you too, Cherrise. And thank you everybody who's been listening.
Yes, thank you.